So you joined Databox when the company had already started, and
That's
so
right.
you joined in as a CEO. And I read in one place that the first thing you did was you figured out what the right go-to-market model should be because apparently it wasn't the right model. So what was wrong with it, and how did you change it?
Yeah, so first of all, I have to give credit to the founders. They're like extremely persistent bunch. They had actually gone to market once and found some success selling the product to very large companies, and largely what those large companies were buying were the ability to track their business metrics on their mobile device. And I don't know if you can remember back to like 2015 in the world, everyone thought we were going to stop using computers and just use our mobile device.
Yep.
And so they rode that wave. Unfortunately, it was a very short wave. And so when they started to bring in a go to market team the first time, and they raised capital when they raised their seed round, um, it just didn't quite work. And so before I joined, they had already started pivoting to selling the software to smaller businesses, a little bit of a focus, although not 100% focus on marketers. And the mission became really automating reporting through dashboards for small businesses, because what small businesses were facing is just too much data to absorb, and that data was often in lots of different tools. So using some SEO tools, some social tools, email marketing or marketing automation, your CRM, et cetera. And so by the time you started using all those tools, getting a complete picture of your sales and marketing was really hard. So that's what. So when I joined, I had that background already. I spent 9 years at HubSpot. And so when I joined, we went full steam into working with marketers and marketing agencies.
You have said in a previous interview that you believe in focusing on one market at a time.
Mm.
Did you follow your own advice there?
um, Sort of. So we focused in on marketers and marketing agencies, and initially we actually focused in on HubSpot partners. At HubSpot, I started and built the HubSpot partner program, which is, at this point has thousands of marketing agencies that are members. And so I had contacts for almost a decade of HubSpot partners that I built relationships with. So we kind of started there. We've since expanded to um, more ecosystems. But we kind of do one at a time. We build a tight integration with one of those ecosystems, and then go to market with that. So at this point, our customer base, especially our partners, use and recommend all different types of marketing software. But yeah, we've done it one at a time. We kind of had to with this business in that our product is useless without an integration, and it's actually not that valuable for a company unless they use multiple integrations, because you're pulling in performance data from these other tools. And so if you're not using these other tools, there's really nothing to look at inside Databox. But I'd say we haven't been 100% focused. Like if you go to our homepage, it doesn't speak directly to marketing agencies or even marketers. It really talks about, I'd say, the product at this point, which has a very horizontal use case. So we have developers using the product to monitor product stats or engineering stats. We have accountants and financial people using us to track their financial performance. So we're a little all over the map in that the product is fairly horizontal, uh, but we do
And
have
is
a
that a
concentration of customers for sure.
is that a strategic decision on your part then to rather target horizontally that anybody who needs to pull their data and build dashboards is a customer rather than we do agencies or SaaS or whatever?
Yeah, so a big portion of our customer acquisition comes in through SEO, our content strategy, and specifically people looking for dashboard software or reporting software. And so we've optimized for those terms and ranked for a lot of related terms to that. So, yes, that was a very specific strategy to be more horizontal and appeal to the people looking for that product.
And so did it stem from the fact that you guys get a lot of SEO traffic, and since that traffic is pretty broad, might as well cater to that SEO traffic?
Yeah, I wouldn't say like it was like one before the other. There was no domain authority when I had joined. There really hadn't been any effective search marketing, at least. And so we fully committed to content marketing strategy from the beginning. And so I knew that, if we're going to do that, we might as well shoot for the relevant keyword terms. And there's times where we've drifted away from some of those and experimented with different stuff. But more recently, we actually just updated our homepage, which is our largest traffic and sign up producer, to be much more specific to the horizontal play, to the dashboards and reporting value prop.
Hmm. So SEO as your key acquisition channel,
Mm-hmm.
was that choice? Did it come from the fact that you guys are a small business, and so hence you can't really buy yourself into the market share like maybe Monday.com, and so SEO is something that you can actually play and win on?
Two things. Well, three things maybe. First of all, I spent 9 years at HubSpot. I keep saying that, but content marketing was obviously the play there. I think they still spend very little on paid acquisition, comparatively at least. So that would be my first thing, is just a bias towards that. Um, but if you look at it strategically, I think there's two big reasons. One is we didn't quite. Uh, we didn't quite know the market to begin with. And so I knew that an investment in search would give us options down the line, as we kind of figured it out. So when I joined, there was literally 11 other people in the company and only one other person that was customer facing, and he was a support guy. So there's all engineers and product people. So I had to pick, like, what are we going to do first? And so I started just like getting on sales calls, doing onboarding calls, talking to customers, and then just producing content to help me in the sales process. And it's kind of just stemmed from that. Um, the other thing is, like, this is a really difficult business to product to build and business to scale, because we have to build all of these integrations. So the complexity of our product is really high. Not only have to get the front end and the back end and all that, we have to integrate with you know tens of different companies' APIs, pull data in real time, be able to visualize it in real time, handle errors. Like, there's a lot of complexity to it. And so we needed time to kind of build the product up to the point where it was good enough to really retain customers. And so I made the decision that until we get to a certain point where I really feel our unit economics are good, then I'm not going to spend money on paid, and I'm going to spend money investing in either content marketing, selling, or better servicing. And so we're really focused in on the content marketing to bring people in, really helpful support processes to help customers and prospects alike use our product and get set up. A very helpful sales process is very trial driven, where we're getting them set up in the product so they can truly evaluate it. And then investing in onboarding, free onboarding services, as well as account management. So we have kind of a enterprisey go-to market strategy in terms of the functions and teams, but we're doing it at a price point that is affordable for our market.
You said your domain ranking was 0 when you joined.
Well,
Today
I
I
don't know
just
if it
looked it
was
up. It's
zero,
like,
but it was really low. Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yes.
near 0.
Yeah.
And just looked it up. It's like 80 right now.
Okay. Awesome. I haven't
So
looked in a while.
what happened in between there? So SEO competition is fierce as well. Everybody's trying to rank for stuff, and then
Yeah.
page two doesn't get you anywhere. So
Yeah.
what kind of systems did you build out internally? How many people did you hire? How has that your content
Yeah.
machine evolved over the years?
Yeah. So initially, 2017, it was one marketer working with me, and he was doing the majority of the work, and I was guiding and editing and doing everything to just get stuff live. And then director of marketing John Bonini joined after that. Uh, Fast forward to today, we are one, two, three, four, five, 8 people. I think it's 8 people. If you asked me to name them, I could name them all, but counting them, throwing me off. 7 or 8. And so it's a relatively small team. We do leverage a lot of freelance writers to help us with the content. What we're doing is producing a lot of content. We're producing at this point, and for the last few years, about 5 pieces of long form content every week. And then we're also doing link building. We're generating probably not quite hundreds, but near 100 links on purpose every month, through manual efforts. One of the challenges in our business, beyond writing about reporting and dashboards, which we can write about, but there's only so many topics. But one of the challenges in our business was being an expert, trying to build a marketing team that has expertise in all the different integrations we have. So you can't, like, I can't hire somebody that's like a Google Analytics expert and a HubSpot CRM expert and an active campaign expert and a SEMrush expert and all of that. Like, there's some of those people out there, but they're really expensive, and eventually they'll get to the point where they don't know something. And so what we did is, instead of writing it all ourselves, we started crowdsourcing content from other or not other, but marketing agencies and other marketers. And so we do is we come up with our own topics. We do the keyword research, and then we think, what questions would a searcher might want to ask when they go to Google. Then we go ask that question and maybe a few others related to it to 10, 15, 50, sometimes 100, a few hundred people. And then we take that and we distill that into the article. We hand that off with a brief to a freelance writer. And so we don't have to be experts. We just have to be able to judge expertise, right? Find people.
Yeah, I've participated in those
Okay.
in blog posts myself, and the way I came across them is, because everybody's trying to do link building. It's like,
Right.
oh, one way to do link building is, Databox has this thing, and so then everybody
We're
who's
on the
writing
link
about
building
link
list.
building writes about you
Right.
building links for you. So it's
Right.
a
Yeah.
reinforcing loop there.
Yes, there's definitely a loop, and then the people that contribute are often willing to also link to us, and so we have processes around that where we'll build targeted links to converting pages and stuff.
In an interview of July of this year, 2021, you said it. You're at 4 million ARR. What's 2021 gonna end at?
We should end around 5.3 million ARR.
And how what's that compared to last previous year?
Like the last time last quarter I did a calculation, it was right around 48, 50, 40. I think it was last quarter was 48. The quarter before that was 52% year over year growth. So I haven't done the calculation yet for
Hmm.
this quarter.
So this is it's very nice, strong growth for a bootstrap company. Yet you guys are venture backed. VC companies, often expect 100% year over year growth. Is
Right.
that a problem internally?
No, so it's funny. I had this debate on Twitter the other day, but we are a VC backed firm, a company that operates like a bootstrapper. We've been cash flow positive for more than 2 years now. So when I joined, there was some money left from the seed round. The seed round was about 3.8 million, and there was less than 25% of that was left. I did do a convertible note where I raised another $1 million from some of the existing investors, as well as people that I had worked with that wanted to invest in my next thing. And so we didn't have a whole lot to work with to build out a go-to-market team and continue building and refining the product. So we focused in mostly on in product investment the first few years and customer support, and kept our marketing budget pretty low, kept our sales budget very low, and so as a result, we've just been refining the product and through iterations, building out our sales and support processes, and operating at a cash flow break even. So we still have a good portion of the money that that I raised. Actually, most of the money that I raised is still in the bank from 4 years ago. So really haven't burned much.
In your LinkedIn company description, you write that Databox is disrupting the $16 billion business analytics industry.
Yeah.
And so you're at 5 point something right now,
Right.
$16 billion industry. So what's the dream? And then what is the
Yeah.
plan
Sounds good.
on, how to get there?
Yeah, we don't. I think I only ever post that on job postings because we do have big ambitions. Um, this this year we will invest significantly more in marketing and really trying to scale the top of our funnel. We'll also launch at least one additional product, most likely two additional products on top of our existing products. So I think we're long ways away from 16 billion in annual revenue, but we'll definitely accelerate our growth this coming year.
What's the main obstacle standing between you and the desired outcome?
Uh, I always I see the path, so I don't see the obstacle. Just time. I think I'm probably an unusually patient CEO. In that, to me, I would rather build the building blocks that will help us accelerate growth, as opposed to just investing in the things we already know can grow. So, like, I could double the sales team, right? If I wanted to spend the money on that, and we would grow faster. We could simply just do more of the marketing and spend, do the same. But we're taking some bets on things that we can do differently or on top of what we're doing that we think will help accelerate our growth. And we're leveraging everything we built to do that. So it's not like we're making it up, but we think we have a low cost way to scale revenue. So we're going to try that.
You guys also have a freemium plan that you
Mm.
promote quite prominently on your website. How big of a growth driver is freemium for you?
It's humongous. We wouldn't have this business without it. Nearly 2/3 of our customers purchase without jumping on a Zoom with us. We may help them in chat or something like that, but they're finding the product, signing up for it, connecting their data, building their dashboard, setting up their goals, and ultimately going into our product and just choosing the plan and buying. And so a good portion of our customers we don't have to talk to, so we have very low customer acquisition costs on the sales side, at least. Um, and so with the freemium product enables that. I think freemium really helps us get people to sign up. And then I think the ease of use and the ease of setup of our product compared to our competitors gets people to buy. And so I think that offering that free, no risk, no expiration date version of the product gets people to take action and check out the product. And then once they're in the product, it's pretty easy to use, and they find what they're looking for at a pretty high rate.
What percentage of the customers ever upgrade to a paid plan from those freemium
Oh,
customers?
pretty small. I think 4%, less than 4%.
And is your main marketing, let's say, funnel on your website drive everybody into freemium, and then some people upgrade, or are you trying to drive more people into paid directly?
Yeah, we have nobody that goes to pay directly. The reason we avoid that, and we actually have put it like we went from so nobody goes from sign up to purchase if we can help it, because we want them to get set up and test the product. It's a unique software product in that you can't really evaluate it without setting it up, right? All the other products kind of work the same for every customer. If you're going to buy email marketing or even SEO tools, right? You're going to get in there, you're going to plug your stuff in, and you're going to know very quickly, does it do what I want it to do or not? Whereas with Databox, you probably have a report you're already producing, or dashboards or metrics that you want to track, and you have to get in HubSpot, a Databox. Still do that 4 years later. You have to get into Databox to figure out, can it pull the data I want? Can I visualize it the way I want? So we want them to get set up, and so we used to have a scenario where they would try the free product, and if they hit a limit or wanted a feature that wasn't in that free product, they would have to buy. And then we implemented a trial there. So instead, if they hit a limit or they want a feature that's not in the free product, they trial the paid version. And so at that point, we're offering help as much as they want it, to help them evaluate, get fully set up and evaluated.
You're famous for building the HubSpot partner program.
Yes.
How have you used that
Hope to do
experience?
something else in my life beyond that, but yes.
How have you used that at Databox? Is partner channel a viable channel for you?
Um, not like it is at HubSpot. So we do have a number of agencies using us. About 40% of our customer base is our marketing agencies using us to report results to clients. And the way we set it up is very generous to agencies. They pay our base fee once, and then they just pay based off of overall usage, so they can have as many clients as they want in there, and just pay based on the number of data sources they connect. And so those agencies often use us for 5, 10, 50, in some cases hundreds of clients. And so we do have a lot of agencies using us. However, they don't resell us like a HubSpot or even like a Constant Contact or a Mailchimp. How Mailchimp is often resold. Um, so because they're largely using it to retain their client, and so they're using the product to show the client their own results, the results that the agency is producing. I intend to change that with some new product launches this year, but right now I'd say they're a customer of ours, but not necessarily a partner. Now we do kind of go to market with them a little bit on our marketing side, collaborate with a lot of them and stuff like that, but not at scale.
You wrote on Twitter something that caught my attention. What you wrote was that your approach to building a business is to add one building block at a time.
Yeah,
And at first, it looks modest because it's just a few blocks, but then you add the 20th and the 30th block, and
right.
then everyone realizes that you've built something amazing. Can you
Yeah,
tell me more about that?
yeah. I feel like we're right there. So because we've kind of bootstrapped, even though we're venture backed, we've kind of bootstrapped the business. And our investors are awesome, by the way. They're very supportive. I think you had asked me before if that causes problems. It doesn't. They're extremely happy and pleased with what we've done. Um, but the way I look at it is because we're bootstrapping, I couldn't go and just hire like a VP of sales, VP of services, VP of marketing, or two VPs of marketing. Like I couldn't go out and make those expenses on day one. So instead, we had to think about how do we take someone maybe that's never even sold SaaS or even sold before and get them to the point where they can contribute in a specific role. And so we have a handful of senior people in the team and with different experiences that are relevant in building this business. And generally, their job is to hire and train. And we've done kind of one department at a time, for lack of a better way of dividing it up. So our first for take marketing, for example, our first approach is just get traffic, get our domain authority up, get content out there, start to build links, etc., and then we'll worry about conversion. Once we did that, it's like, all right, now let's figure out how we're going to get people to convert on the site, and we figured out a really clever way to get people to convert that connects our content marketing strategy to our product. And then on the sales side, like we started with one salesperson, go and figure out some kind of repeatable process. We train support people because we already had a support team in order to join, to take phone calls, learn how to set an agenda, ask questions, qualify need, demonstrate the product, etc. It's really about building one piece of the business at a time. Same thing on the product side. They built a mobile app first, and then we built a web app, and then we figured out how do we help people see or how do we set it up so people can put data on a TV in their office wall. And now, how do we let them send an update to Slack? So like each of those pieces of the puzzle. Same thing with the integrations. Like we built one or two integrations like a HubSpot and a Google Analytics that had a wide market. And then once we had a bunch of HubSpot users, we had to go and build similar products, the other products that they use, like a SEMrush or Wistia, things like that. So it's really about, building a piece at a time.
How has the strategy of Databox evolved between when you joined and what it is now?
Um, so we're in the middle of a strategy shift, which I can share a little bit about. Um, I'd say we spent the first 3.5 years building a tool that quickly allowed people to consolidate data into a dashboard. The last year, we did a major rearchitecture of the platform, which took us a little longer than we had hoped, but will allow us to move up into that BI space, where we're enabling our customers to do much more in-depth analysis of their data. We're enabling them to see how they should be performing, maybe by benchmarking against similar companies, um, enabling them to start setting goals and OKRs around company performance so that they're holding people accountable to it. And so we'll be positioning ourselves much more around helping companies improve their performance, not just track it. And so that's the shift that we're moving towards or moving into. We've done the hard work behind the scenes, and now it's a matter of the customer facing stuff that we'll be launching next
And
year.
what is your theory of advantage? Meaning, how do you win against other smart people out there also trying to, win over this, same customers?
Yeah. Um, so I'd say there's some competitive differentiation. Like if somebody wanted to go rebuild our product, it's extremely complicated, and you need to raise a lot more than we did if you wanted to build it from scratch. There's a lot of very small competitors out there that build a handful of integrations and then realize how hard the business is. Um, and so I think there is engineering competitive advantage. One of those things is our deep integrations. A lot of our competitors, even especially the big BI tools that you pay a lot more for, they're blank shells. Like they have all the abilities to manipulate, visualize, analyze data, but you have to get your own data into that system. And with the rise of SaaS companies, right, other companies using so many SaaS products, what we've done is said, hey, these SaaS companies are defining the metrics you should be measuring and tracking. And so what we do is we duplicate that, make it just click to duplicate the same metrics inside our product. And so I think that's a big competitive advantage. We've had one of our competitors try to copy that with moderate success. Um, Another one is, and this isn't alive or active in our business yet, but is that partner ecosystem. And so we'll activate that next year, and I believe that'll give us um, both some virality in the product and some network effects around the data that we're gathering that will be difficult for other companies to duplicate.
So you have some technical modes, which is like building those integrations is just hard work.
Yes,
Second, you have
maintaining
an
them too.
SEO mode.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Um, uh, so how often do you find yourself thinking about modes in general?
A bit. I'm obsessed with moats. Yeah. um, I think I most SaaS companies look at other SaaS companies as comparables. So, like, I know that at HubSpot we would never say it, and they still might not say it, but they were obsessed with Marketo for a while, then obsessed with Salesforce. They're still obsessed with Salesforce. Um, like Salesforce was obsessed with the enterprise software companies, and um, I know working with enough SaaS companies that they obsess over that company that's slightly out of them, maybe in a tangential space or whatever. I personally obsess over media and marketplaces and social platforms. Like if you look at the Googles and the Facebooks, they're software companies. They just happen to give most of it away for free and monetize through advertising. And so when I look at how does a software company build a moat, I think it'll increasingly be through crowdsourcing. I think it'll increasingly be through building a platform that others build on, and the network that you're building, right? The actual people and companies that participate be using or through your software. And so for me, it's much more about how do we build that into the product experience. So yeah, think about it all the time.
My last question would be about something other else you said, which is feedback as a superpower at Databox.
Yeah,
So how does that work?
yeah, it's interesting. We're obsessed with gathering feedback in a scalable way. Part of it was because the engineering product team, they're all from Slovenia. They all speak English very well, way better than I speak any other language. However, I don't think they're confident in their speaking, and they have to be thoughtful, and sometimes it takes some time to get their thoughts out. Um, but they are excellent communicators, excellent listeners, and so the feedback loops that we developed kind of came out of the fact that they weren't really comfortable always jumping on calls with customers or prospects. Now they did it when they needed to, but wasn't their first and primary activity. And so what we did is initially our support team became the feedback loop. And our support team actually painstakingly would catalog every piece of feedback, potential bug, confusing thing that the customer ran into, and put it into a project management system. And then the engineering team would take it, read every single one, categorize it, and put it into a backlog. Work on some of them that we could, and move others into either into a bigger project that we needed to do, or just a project we knew we needed to do something before we could address it. And so we had this system where we were manually tracking every piece of feedback. We've since moved that to a public roadmap site, realizing just how many calories we were spending doing that. And that added another level of interaction directly from customers, where not they didn't have to report the issue; they could just go and vote for issues or requests. But every week, literally every week, we're taking that feedback, and the product team is acting on it. Sometimes, like it's a pixel or it's a word or whatever, but we're knocking those down literally every week. And then our long term roadmap incorporates a lot of the bigger things that we get feedback on. Actually, we just spent 18 months re-architecting the platform, just to give you an example. And the only customer facing feature it enabled yet is the ability to change the date range on your dashboard to anything. So like you literally put any date range at this point. Before it was hard coded, you had to pick 5 different date ranges that you wanted the dashboard to show. But we had to redo our whole platform, and that was the number one request, was to be able to manipulate and the date ranges more in a more sophisticated way. And so that became something that we built, even though it was an 18-month commitment. Ended up being an 18-month commitment. We didn't think it would be in the beginning.
Yeah, doesn't everything take always longer than you think?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter.